right, thank you for staying with Daybreak. The discussion always starts even during the breaks. Let me introduce my guest really quick. Honorable Dama Olekina, Narok Senator, is here. Thank you so much for making time. Samson Cherargei, Nandi Senator, is also here. Kimani Wamatangi, Kiambu Senator, is with us. And Honorable Wilson Sossion, nominated Member of Parliament, is also with us here. There's quite a number of things that we want to talk about. River Yala bodies keep coming up on Kenya Power officials, Wanjigi released by court, and the BBI hearing. But first off, let's start with the dailies. Touch on a bit of politics here. Front page of the Daily Nation, One Kenya Alliance factor in Raila Ruto runoff. They say race for House on the Hill to get complicated for ODM and UDA leaders, the two perceived front runners in the August polls. Should One Kenya Alliance field a candidate with vote-rich Mount Kenya bloc holding the possible clincher? Do you agree with that, Olekina? Is this the deciding factor, the One Kenya Alliance, who at some point were with you?
No, absolutely not. I don't think the One Kenya Alliance is a deciding factor in this election. I think this election is a two-man race. It is quite clear that the person who we pray and hope that will be able to deliver a victory for Kenyans is Raila Amolo Odinga. So I've seen what the headlines have indicated, but I don't think they're on the ground. I think they're a little bit misconceived on what is happening on the ground. And if you traverse the counties of Kenya, even Mount Kenya region, you will see the amount of gain that the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga has made over the last few months, since he started climbing the mountain.
What if the team decides to support UDA? Because, you know, tomorrow, Musalia Mudavadi said he's going to make an earthquake.
That's inconsequential. I think at this time, we're very clear. You know, although people normally say it's never too late to mend, but in this particular case, I think people have already made their decision. It is quite clear. The biggest question that we ask is that, who are we safe with? And I think the person we're safe with is really Raila Amolo Odinga. That has been made very, very clear. It is a very sober campaign, a campaign based on issues to be able to look at what has been ailing this country for the last 60 years in terms of development, in terms of inclusivity. So I think it is quite clear on what we're looking for. This One Kenya Alliance? These are a bunch of old folks who really needs to now come back to the reality that 70% of the youth in this country want proper change, they want proper guidance, leadership. And I don't think you can really best their strength because they're really focusing on one area. And in that one area, there are three political parties which are already taking the votes from that area. So really, for me, it's completely inconsequential.
Cherargei, is it completely inconsequential, like Ledama says, the One Kenya Alliance? They tilt the figures either way.
Thank you, Trevor, and good morning, and it's good to be back. I remember we were the founders of State of the Nation with Kimani Wamatangi, who has been the common denominator. And then you over the many sessions that I've missed. So from where I sit, I think what we should be asking the question is the 2022, this general election will be about other things than One Kenya Alliance, and more so will be about the track record that the Deputy President has always said, and about the future of the country and the history of the country. I think One Kenya Alliance, they have insisted that they are going to give us one presidential candidate, but I remember the last time they have been meeting in hotels on several occasions. But in all fairness is that, of course, they have a right to run, and they have a right to declare, but that one does not mean that they will force a runoff. Because as things stand now, and you have seen even the opinion polls, although sometimes it has been alterated or on one or two occasions people have been trying to play down, but the clear front runner for the presidency in this republic is Dr. William Samoei Ruto, because the elections of this year will be more of what are you going to do to Kenyans. I agree with Ledama on this. What are you going to do for Kenyans? What do you have in store for Kenyans? What is your track record? what have you been doing in the positions that you have already had? So from where I sit, I don't see any significant impact of One Kenya Alliance in determination of presidential elections. From the opinion polls we have seen on several occasions, it shows that they don't have a significant match as they want. Maybe I think they only scare that they want, but they need to come back to reality, because there is no option. You either work with William Ruto or our competitors, but the deputy president has insisted that he is ready to work with either of leaders that have the goodwill and have an intention of a better Kenya, and he has said on several occasions. So it is not that if One Kenya Alliance are playing a Russian roulette game of thinking that they can force a runoff to negotiate or either post during the runoff elections, if it will be there, then it is not as, because in 2013 similar scenario, they were trying to come up with similar scenario. In 2017, Trevor, as you are aware, they tried a similar scenario, but it never happened. So I wish the One Kenya Alliance would make the decision as early as now, but it is up to them. Every Kenyan has a right to run for the office they wish for. What
do you expect from Musalia's declaration, which is happening tomorrow?
No, but from the small adverts I've seen in TV ads and radio, it promises earth-shaking earthquake statement this weekend, coming weekend. But he has insisted from the small information, because I wish One Kenya Alliance insiders would have been in this program, is that he's going to launch formally and declare for presidency. So let's see what happens on Sunday, and then from there I think we can see. But of course, every Kenyan has a right. We will want to also hear what he has when he wants to run for president, what motivates him, what is his intentions. We have seen, I think, Ford Kenya leader Moses Wetangula has also declared, Kalonzo Musyoka has declared, I think also Cyrus Jirongo is in the race. I think the KANU chairman has also declared. So I think declaring and hunting for votes and winning are two different things. But I can tell you from where we sit, and you have seen how we have been moving around the country, is of course, with all intention and purposes, the front runner is Dr. William Ruto, and I hope people like Senator Kimani Wamatangi, who are still transiting, because Kimani Wamatangi was missing in Thika Stadium during the Azimio. I hope they can see where the victory is, and you can tell from his facial expression.
Wamatangi.
Sorry, I lost Cherargei.
You want to start from the old Thikas?
Let me start from the start. I was distracted a bit by Sosion's phone here. Now, let me start from the question that you asked, Trevor. You know, what is the net effect of the two running, either Musalia Mudavadi or Kalonzo Musyoka? But let me start by saying good morning to our viewers. And glad to be here, Trevor, and expect a good discussion. Wishing Kenyans a good day. And Trevor, I would apply my mind in asking a few questions based on what the current situation is, because for starters, there is no question that indeed, as the race is right now, William Samoei Ruto and Raila Odinga are way ahead of any other presidential candidate right now. And the two, indeed, are the two horses, as it were, that are most likely to head to, the epic battle that will determine who lead this country. But thinking out probably and looking at the statistics of 2017, I would ask a few questions to arrive at a logical answer, Trevor. First, supposing, although as Senator Cherargei says, Kalonzo Musyoka declared that he wants to run for president, Musalia Mudavadi is yet to make that earthquake announcement.
On Sunday, 23rd.
On Sunday. I believe it should have some angle towards him running, probably. Supposing Musalia Mudavadi was to run and he had the backing of Kalonzo Musyoka maybe as his running mate, what kind of equation would that look like? But then you would quickly add a further question. In that kind of scenario, is Moses Wetangula likely to support Mudavadi as a presidential candidate? And you can take it further and ask yourself, would it be possible for Gideon Moi to back either of the two? And knowing that probably when they're backing either of the two, they are not backing either of the two with a clear forecast to win, but probably to force a runoff. I mean, in a race, you can look at how it's been run and you know whether you have got good chances of catching up. Of course, nothing is impossible, and Kenyans can change their minds, and this is determined at the time of voting. But the way things look like right now, it is not highly likely that any of them would win, in my thinking, if things remained as they are right now.
Yeah.
So probably their race would force a runoff, if that was it. But I think the disappointment would be that amongst the four of them, it might be very difficult to rally them together and have them form a team of, two with a deputy and then the other two supporting. So probably, and this would be my thinking,
yeah.
It is likely that some of them, out of the four, may fall into the other two camps. One could fall to the Azimio side,
yeah.
Another could fall to the UDA side, and then that would almost neutralize then the effect of the other two running. That would be a likely scenario. But I don't think we would be safe to dismiss their candidature and its net effect. I say so because the combined force probably of Moses Wetangula and Musalia Mudavadi may have some effect on the voter turnout maybe within, or rather the voting pattern within Western.
Yeah.
I would imagine probably if Kalonzo Musyoka was running differently in Ukambani, he would have some effect. He's not effectless. Okay. And probably that would still shake it a little bit. What would be of most concern, and that's my last point, is in Mount Kenya region right now, what needs to happen? Because Mount Kenya region, remember, has got almost 8 million votes, or 8 million plus right now, is to ensure that there is real voter turnout in Mount Kenya region. If there was apathy within the Mount Kenya region of turnout, and such that what it would end up being is a fight for the few voters that would come out, then I think the race could get complicated. But let's watch the space and see what happens. And as they say, the last minute can save a man. Who knows? Musalia Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka, any of them could come out and surprise the country. Definitely they've been there, they're experienced too.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Sian, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, fundamentally, you look at OCA right from the beginning up to where it is now. At this moment, we don't see OCA really seriously united. It's a group that seems to be now angling themselves for very specific interest. And if indeed they're thinking of trying to force a runoff, the mood of Kenyans, because let's not look at it from the angle of individuals and candidates. Let's look at the perception of the voters on the ground, considering the abject poverty and the high level of the high cost of living. The perception of Kenyans is very clear that in round one, there will be a president with 50+1. Even if we assume that OCA will remain united with Musalia Mudavadi, with Kalonzo Musyoka, with Gideon Moi, and with Moses Wetangula, and with Cyrus Jirongo, even if holding circumstances constant, they all remain united with one presidential candidate. Yeah. Still, a president in round one will appear, will definitely be declared with 50+1. Why am I saying so? Looking at the mood of Kenyans and the perception of Kenyans, and if you look at the statistics, because figures don't lie, and the performance in campaigns of William Samoei Ruto and the message that is driving across is one of the simplest and most revolutionary message that speaks to the hearts of the poor households of this country, regardless of tribes. So that the business of Oka trying to bargain, if that would be the intention for a runoff so that they can bargain, will not hold any water. And looking at the latest development, then we would expect that the principals in Oka will eventually quickly negotiate their space within the two front runners, that is Raila Odinga and William Ruto, and bargain on formation of government. Let's not forget the history of transitions in this country. It's very clear that coalitions or alliances will always carry the day significantly. Right from 2002, they're the same players. Mudavadi was on one side, and Kalonzo was on another side, and therefore, from where I sit, I see empirically further bargains. This bargaining going on, and in the next 2, 3, 4 months, we'll be able to see real politics in this country shaping up. And the question is, when you look at it geographically, who are Oka? Oka is basically Lower Eastern and Western Kenya. That is what Oka is all about. And how will they gravitate towards the developing strong political forces in the country? Because I expect all these groups to bargain their way, mainstream the interest of those particular regions towards a certain direction, and we will be able to see further activities of politics in this country. And looking at what it is at the moment, of course, people are asking, whom are we safe with? We are safe with all the presidential candidates as long as they meet the minimum threshold and they are able to lead this country within the Constitution and the law. And so, therefore, we will also be more safe with the manifestos and the models they will be bringing. And we'll be more safe with manifestos that are addressing poverty and suffering of Kenyans and inequality. Those who will address inequality and ensure that there is both social and economic equality. So I think the voting pattern this time round, there will be less of ethnic affiliation, ethnic interest, ethnic mobilization. Kenyans will speak more to issues, and their perceptions will be strongly directed towards messages that will improve their household economies.
Okay, let's shift gears and talk about rather.
I don't think it is true to state that Oka is Lower Eastern and Western, because that is actually not true. If you look at the Lower Eastern, we have the Kamba Nation is the predominant ethnic group that reside there. But not everyone is in Oka. If you look at the Western region, you know, there is not Wetangula, but Eugene Wamala's party, which is more affiliated to Azimio la Umoja. So I don't think it is true to assert that Oka is Lower Eastern and Western Kenya. I think it is individuals' interest, and I think these people will have to come back and maybe galvanize their own votes, maybe small people who normally support them. But I think, as you can see what is happening in Lower Eastern, the 3 governors of Ukambani region decided to support Azimio. So really, they are slowly isolating this guy, the former vice president, Kalonzo Musyoka. If you look at what is happening in Western Kenya, the split on Ford Kenya has caused a lot of Western Kenyans to be able to go and now support Azimio. I would only agree with you on one aspect of your argument, that I think Kenyans should be looking at issues, you know, not propaganda. People should be looking at issue-based politics.